Out of all of the operators in Rainbow Six Siege right now, there are 10 that you need to start playing for this new season. The first of which being the newest attacking addition to the ranked pool, and that being Striker. This is the new recruit operator, but just because it's a recruit doesn't actually mean that it's bad. Striker as a solo queue operator is very, very good, because if you want to get a wall open, let's say you know your team doesn't have the coordination for it, you can bring a hard breaching charge, and you can bring an EMP grenade as well. So being able to get a wall open by yourself is crazy. If maybe entry fragging is more your style, well, this operator also has an M4 with an ACOG, and you're able to bring flash grenades for yourself, maybe with frag grenades too. So you can bring any secondary utility you want paired up with any other secondary utility that you want, as long as they don't repeat, and you have a great gun with an ACOG to pair up with that. You're also not a 3 armor, so you can run around and get a lot of kills, or you're not a 3-speed, so you have the health if you want to play support. I think Striker is a great solo queue operator, one of the best they've released in years, and you really need to start playing this operator. But let's go into an operator that maybe you're just more familiar with. On the defense, this being Valkyrie. I think with Fenrir being nerfed, with Azami being nerfed, and with Solus being nerfed, we're going to start to see the rise of more traditionally powerful defenders, and I think Valkyrie will be the start of that. Anytime I go against a good Valkyrie player, it makes me want to rip my eyes out. It's very, very annoying, and you playing that Valkyrie can sometimes win you entire rounds, just because you can ping your teammates, or if you're, a good person, you can calm to your teammates, get free nitro kills. Just having that information in general is so nice, and you just have to start playing Valkyrie this next season. She's borderline overpowered. Now, back when people were making tier lists years ago, everybody used to put Valkyrie at S tier. They knew how good Valkyrie was. The only actual thing they've done to change Valkyrie since then was make it to where you couldn't use outside cameras, which now really isn't that big of a deal. The only reason people stopped playing Valkyrie is because you had people like Azami, Fenrir, and Solus coming up that just overshadowed her. But with those people, again, being nerfed, I think Valkyrie is going to be played a lot more, and you, as a player, need to get on that wave before it's too late. Someone else that you need to get on the wave before it's too late, and honestly, you probably are too late to this, is Monty as an attacker. Now, Monty has the highest win rate of any attacker at all for Emerald and above, good players on console right now, the highest of any attacker. Because right now, Monty is the strongest that Monty has ever been. Minus the fact that you used to be able to just one-shot knife people, but other than that, with the new shield rework, Monty is amazing. You can have the shield in front of your face while you're sprinting. You can air jab people with your shield. You're able to ADS pretty fast. They did nerf the ADS speed a tad bit, but it's not really that noticeable. You have the smoke grenades for plant and a shield for planting as well. Taking space is easier. You're able to extend your shield in case you have positional mistakes. Always good for newer players as well who maybe don't really understand the game that much. Although I will say he's pretty advanced, so maybe don't do that, but you get the idea. If you're pretty average at the game, I think Monty can be very beneficial to you, especially because, like I said, this is one of the most broken states Monty has ever found himself in as an operator. I will say though, everyone's playing Monty, so the more that you learn to counter Monty, the better you'll be at him, and vice versa. I don't think Monty is slept on at all, so you probably weren't surprised by seeing this. But an operator you might be more surprised to see on this list is actually Kapkan. I think Kapkan's a pretty slept on operator because if you play Kapkan correctly, it's almost a guaranteed kill every single round that you play Kapkan. You need to be playing Kapkan for kills, and not for information. I see a lot of people making the mistake of spreading out their Kapkan traps to get information on people, instead of using Kapkan for kills. Well, if you wanted a trap operator that you can use for information, you would just use Legion. Legion does that, but 30 times better. Kapkan is the only trap operator that you can reliably use to get instant kills. It only takes 2 Kapkan traps to kill a 3-speed, so I recommend putting 2 Kapkan traps on one door that you think they're going to commonly rush. People who rush are 3-speed, so it just kind of makes sense. Then put the other 3 Kapkan traps on the door that you know any speed at all is going to have to funnel into. A sight door, for example, or somewhere near a sight door would be a great place to put these Kapkan traps. That way you get a guaranteed kill on even Monty players who walk through your Kapkan traps. I find this strategy, for me, ends up getting me more kills than spacing them out ever would, and free kills is the name of Kapkan's game. Not only this, but again, people love to play Monty and Ying in this meta. They love to play shields like we talked about earlier, so having a nitro cell to be able to at least slow that down at bare minimum and maybe get a kill at the maximum is great, and that's why I love playing Kapkan right now. He's versatile, he's great if maybe your aim isn't the best that day and you want to get some free kills and not ruin your KD, which honestly is kind of why I play him. So if maybe your aim isn't the best and you're looking for an easy operator to pick up, Kapkan is definitely your guy. Somebody a bit more complicated though, that a lot of my advanced players will love is Ying. Ying is in a very powerful state right now because not only is Ying a good operator that has a very low skill floor with a very high skill ceiling, but also she fits the meta like a glove. People are smoke planting more than ever because shields are viable, and shields are good for smoke planting. Ying fits this super well because she brings smokes, so she can help with the smoke plant, but also she can cover her planter by throwing Ying candelas that aren't cooked at all, so that it wastes the most amount of time, so that the person has the most amount of time to plant safely. You can blind people if you're trying to rush site with those shields, which is great for getting kills. You have an LMG that's great for getting kills. You have an ACOG that's great for getting kills. If you don't want to bring smokes, you can bring hard-breaching charges if you want to get a wall open to then get smoke grenades into the building to get a plant down. So if you want to get a plant down, you want to rush, you want to maybe get some good kills, but you want to learn a very high skill ceiling operator along the way, Ying is going to be the best bet for you. Like I said, Ying has a high skill ceiling, but what do I really mean by that? Well, Ying, yes, can be used for kills, but at a very high advanced level, Ying is actually used to take space. Think about it. If you're a defender and you see a Ying candela, you're not just going to sit there and like take it, you're going to run away. So if you know that they're going to run away from your Ying candelas, you might as well throw a Ying candela into a room that you want them to run out of, that you want to take control of, right? So at the highest level, Ying is actually meant to take rooms, not really to take kills. So if you start playing Ying like that, you can get even more usefulness out of her, which is why I think she's a very good attacker and one that you should start picking up, because not only does she fit the meta, but she will teach you how to play the game at a high level, which a lot of operators cannot do. Which unfortunately actually goes for her counterpart, Lesion. Lesion might not have a high skill ceiling, but he has a low skill floor, and is one of the easiest operators to get into in the entire game, while also still getting a ton of value in the process. We talked about trying to take space as Ying, but if you want to maintain space, Lesion is actually your guy. If I have a Lesion mine in a room, I know that if no one hits that Lesion mine, I have control of that room. So you can have control of multiple rooms at a time because Lesion has a bunch of mines constantly that you can throw down all at once, meaning that holding space and acting off of information is something that Lesion is very easily able to do. Lesion also brings an SMG with almost no recoil. So if you want an easy to use operator, not only is the ability easy to use, but so is the gun. The Super Shorty also allows you to set up sight. So again, if you're looking for an operator that maybe helps you play in a more basic way, Lesion teaching you how to set up sight after watching your teammates is something that is very viable to newer players. So if you want a defender that's very good to newer players, maybe Capcan just isn't your style, Lesion is definitely a close second. I mean, honestly, probably above Capcan for newer players. Somebody that's a bit more advanced, though, in my opinion, would be Gridlock. Now, Gridlock is good for flanks, and that's the most basic part about it. But just like Ying, I think Gridlock has a higher skill ceiling than people realize. The entire purpose, I say this joke so often, the entire purpose of Gridlock is so that you lock the grid of a site, not a flank. If you lock the grid of a site, you make it to where they can't rotate in the site, at least while they haven't shot the actual tracks yet. This gives you time to, you guessed it, get the bomb down. Again, we're in a plant-heavy meta, so getting the bomb down and any operators that are going to help you do it is great. Not only does it help you get the bomb down by stopping them from rotating, but also it makes a loud sound that will make it to where they can't even hear the bomb going down in the first place. And you know what I said about Ying and what she brings to be able to help get the bomb down? Smoke grenades. Gridlock has those too. So, just another operator, just like Ying, that is great for getting the bomb down. If you don't like Ying, maybe she's not your style, Gridlock is a great alternative because not only does she bring smokes, but she can also actually bring EMP grenades to help your teammates get the wall open in case you don't have that either, which I know in my solo queue lobbies, my teammates just never bring EMP grenades, bro. So I find myself on EMP grenades a lot on Gridlock, with the tracks being able to cover me when the smoke grenades can't. Now this next operator that I'm going to talk about does something that no other operator can do either, and that is the newest recruit on defense, Sentry. We talked about Striker earlier, but let's talk about the defender counterpart. The fact that you can bring a deployable shield and a nitro cell in one operator is absolutely broken. There's no other word for it. It's just insane. Not only that, but if you know they're bringing shields, you can bring a nitro cell and you can bring impact grenades. And with barbed wire doing damage now, you can bring barbed wire and proximity alarms and have a bunch of information, something that slows them down, and something that does damage all in one operator. It's so good. And if you liked playing Mozzie, they also bring the commando on this operator, which just makes this operator not only actually feel good to use because your utility is doing work, But that gun is just a laser. It just feels so nice to use. It's newer player friendly, and if you're new, you definitely have Sentry because it's the first operator you unlock. So again, for my newer players out there, this is going to be one of the best operators that you can play for this season. But even for my advanced players, my champion players, my diamond players, my emerald players, right? Sentry is good for you too. Imagine you have a proximity alarm and a nitro cell set under that proximity alarm. The second they enter that proximity alarm, you hit the nitro cell. It's that easy. You have so much outplay potential with this operator because you can bring 2 secondary gadgets in one operator. If you don't think this is as broken as I do, because I'm pretty hyped about it, I'm going to take you back to Pro League for a little bit. Recruit used to be able to bring 2 secondary gadgets at once, right? Pretty known. And Recruit was able to be played in Pro League. They used the ability to bring 2 secondary gadgets so often in Pro League that Recruit got banned from Pro League because it was used that so much. And that's also the reason that Recruit's not used in Ranked either. So if you don't think it's broken, I guarantee you it is because they've literally banned it before. I don't even know why they're putting it back into Ranked. I don't understand. Someone else who is being abused in Pro League that nobody else knows is powerful right now would be Grim, the 9th operator on this list. Grim is good because he's able to make the attacking rush faster. Let's say in order to rush, you have to clear out 5 angles. Well, instead of having to manually clear out 5 angles with a drone or with a shield operator, you can Grim B all the ones on the right and only have to clear 2 or 3 on the left, making it a lot easier for your team. If you Grim B before your team goes in and you get Bs on the right, then you know there's a guy on the right, and then you can just have your teammates watch the left, and boom, you split push, right? So Grim is better, admittedly, if you have a team that you can coordinate with, and he's only really good if you know how to clear angles, which angles to clear, if you're kind of advanced in the game and you have that game sense. But for my higher level players that are watching this out there, I think Grim is actually something that you start to pick up, especially if you're in champ lobbies, because champ lobbies really just go by the meta of what's going on, and if you know anything about the meta, you know that typically it's defined by what Pro League is doing, and Pro League is using the shit out of Grim right now because of just how good he is. So I don't think Grim is going to be any different from any other operator that Pro League has made popular, so I definitely think if you're one of my advanced players watching this video, you should actually start to learn Grim in a more advanced way, and I think you'll actually start to realize how good this operator can be in certain situations. Just like the next operator, Azami, but Azami can be good in every single situation. But before I talk about Azami, I'm going to go over 2 honorable mentions that you thought might have made it on this list, but didn't quite make the cut. The first of which being Blitz. The reason that I put Monty on this list and not Blitz is because Monty is a little bit easier, to be completely honest. The fact that you can extend your shield and make it to where nobody can shoot you in the shoulder or the feet, and it even gives you a bit more glass around your head, just makes Monty a little bit easier for players in case they just position themselves incorrectly. Now they can just extend their shield and they won't get punished for it. You also don't have to worry about impact grenades or nitro cells as much, whereas Blitz, you have to worry about that. And like I said with Monty, you don't have to worry about positioning, but as Blitz, if you make one positional error at all, your back is getting blown out, your feet are getting shot, and so is your shoulder. So Blitz is a lot just more unforgiving. Also, people way overestimate the blind on Blitz's shield. So most people don't end up getting blinds with him anyways, and they over-regress on him. So I just didn't think it made sense, especially compared to Monty, who's just way easier to actually get value with. And the second honorable mention being Melusi. Now, Melusi does slow down the attacker rush, so you might be thinking, well, she's meta, why don't you put her on the list? I just think there's better attackers to slow down the rush. Legion, for example. I mean, hell, even Tachanka is really good at countering shields. Smoke is good at countering shields. Capkin is good at countering shields, right? So, like, Melusi just kind of does what other operators do, just a tad bit worse. And the fact that you can immediately shoot her gadget the second you walk in it just makes her a little bit non-valuable, especially when you compare to other defenders on this list, like Azami, Legion, Sentry, Valkyrie, and Capcan. Like, you know, she doesn't really make the cut. But now let's go back to the final pick of today's video, which is Azami. Now, the reason that Azami is in the top 10 list, even though she got nerfed, is because even after the nerf, the concept of her ability, no matter how they nerf it, is still just a good ability. The fact that you can throw a bulletproof, or I guess not really bulletproof anymore. Wow, I actually just caught myself saying that in 2024. The fact that you have an ability that blocks lines of sight that you can throw literally anywhere, and 5 of them at that, I think is really powerful. She also brings an auto slug shotgun that you can bring with an ACOG on it, so an ACOG on defense naturally is going to be good for holding angles, but you can use Azami to make angles that weren't even there before that you can hold. If you like using the SMG, you can still use that too. It just doesn't have an ACOG, but like it still works. Azami also does bring those impact grenades if you want to counter the shields, and you can also put in the Azami barricade behind the shield operator so he can't really escape you, meaning you can get a free kill on the shield operator. So it's good for countering shields, it's good for slowing down the rush, it's good for holding angles and getting kills and anchoring. And Azami, even after the bulletproof nerf, I still feel like it's like high A tier on a tier list. Still a great operator, and you need to be playing Azami almost every single round that she is on banned. But with that out of the way, my name's Alka. That was it for the video. Check out this next video, and I hope to see you there. Later.